Rob Pelinka announced today that he has decided to extend JJ Redick's contract. JJ Redick's contract originally last year was for 4 years, $32 million. Pelinka did not disclose how much this extension would be for, so we don't know. But all we know is that JJ is going to be extended beyond the three remaining years on his contract. I have to say this was a stupid contract, the extension that is, I would say. But before I just go in on this, I'm going to first say what I've always said about coaching in the NBA. I think coaching in the NBA is very overrated that compared to other sports. Whereas in the NBA, if you have a great player, you're going to win a lot of games, no matter how incompetent of a coach you are. And even if you're allegedly a great coach, you can only win with a great player. You look at Phil Jackson, when he didn't have a stacked team, for instance, he couldn't do shit. Greg Popovich couldn't do shit when he didn't have a legit great player with him. So that's how I feel about coaching. Like, I feel NBA coaches really can only influence 5 to 10% of the game at best, around there. I say 5 to 10% because they influence substitutions, when to play guys, when not to play guys. That can influence the game. They have the ability to work the refs. That can definitely influence the game. That's really where they can make their impact, but not so much outside of those realms for the most part. That is, maybe they can drop some schemes that can make a difference, but teams are smart. They figure out things very quickly. So at best, you can only influence around 5 to 10%. But going back to JJ Redick, I do think this was stupid because, first off, let him play out his contract. He has 3 more years remaining. Let's see what he can do these next 3 years. I think they got high off of his success last year with him winning 50 wins, that being his first year with the Lakers, them being third in the conference. Yeah, it looks good on paper, but it goes back to what I've been saying about most coaches, that you can be incompetent and you can still win a lot of games as long as you have a great player. He had prime Luka last year, and that made a hell of a difference in him getting those 50 wins, especially when the Lakers made that surge towards the end of the year. I think they were something like 20-4 or 20-3 in the remaining like 24, 25 games. So that made a huge difference. Luka started to feel good about himself eventually, and he started to play like his old self. And the Lakers started to win a ton of games. But I felt during the playoffs, JJ got exposed, especially in game 4 of the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, when he decided to roll the dice and only play, I think it was like 5 players for like the whole entire second half of that game. So he stupidly played only like 5 players for like the second half of that game in game 4, in which they had lost. That was a huge risk to pull in a must-win game, and it blew up in his face, especially down the stretch when you could tell the Lakers were just gassed and tired, and they couldn't make the right plays. You could see it due to their fatigue, and I thought that was definitely a rookie mistake he made right there by risking it all in that situation. It was a terrible risk because I think that really ended the series for the Lakers. They were down 3-1. It was insurmountable for them to come back from. And the players were drained, even with a few days of rest. They couldn't come back from that, and they ended up losing game 5 on their home court. So that, to me, really showed that he wasn't ready for prime time, that he couldn't control the 5 to 10% in which a coach influences a game. He failed miserably at that. So I think just based off of that, you don't extend him, because he's going to make more boneheaded decisions like that, because he's still an inexperienced coach. I say inexperienced, that is. He's still inexperienced. So you have to expect that he'll make more boneheaded decisions. But when I look at this extension in another realm or another view, from what I've been hearing, that this move was made to appease LeBron, that LeBron's a huge JJ guy, and maybe this is like some hint that the Lakers are going to keep LeBron beyond the season by extending JJ. So that's another possibility, which, if you're a Lakers fan, is very depressing, because I know most of Laker Nation wants LeBron gone, but this is like a stupid signing that doesn't make any sense. It's very befuddling. It's just like, what are the Lakers thinking? But then again, the Lakers like to throw away free money. They're used to throwing away money. They've done this with other coaches that they've given big deals to, and they have just fired them in year one or year two. Like they did this with Frank Vogel. I believe they did this with Byron Scott, and I think they did this with Mike D'Antoni. So they have a history of just giving free money to coaches that they just like giving away free money. God, I wish the Lakers would give me a chance to coach their team. I think I could be just as good as JJ Redick. I could just sit there and I'd tell Luca, you do everything. This is your team. You run the offense, and I would just sit there and collect those checks. But JJ's getting free money. At least as a player, he had to actually earn the money by being talented to be an NBA player. He was a legit solid role player, but as a coach, he's definitely not earning those checks, as they would say. I still remember last year when he said something like wanted to have work-life balance as a coach, which really showed to me that he wasn't committed to being a full-time coach. He just wanted to enjoy the benefits of coaching without putting in the hard work. So he got rewarded, but I guess it's not surprising when guys like this get rewarded when they don't deserve to be rewarded. But yeah, I have nothing else to say.